Also, are you complaining about, I did so much work for the episode? So, wow.
Yeah, you're goddamn right.
Look at you. Look at you, Jacob. Look at the balls on you.
Every race have different milks, Jacob.
Look at you to tell me what or what isn't Tolkien-esque.
Jerry Randall
Bill Randall Tolkien. There's one thing that is Tolkien-esque.
Metaphors for industrialism.
Yeah.
And every race got different milks.
Welcome, residents, to the
So
Doctor...
quiet.
What?
So quiet. For an anniversary episode. Welcome,
I
residents.
was not like that.
Outrageous.
Welcome, residents, to the 400th episode of
Well,
the Dr. DC.
Well, 400 episodes. We're really happy to be here.
Yeah, because what you didn't hear was the doctor shaming me prior to getting into this. Just belittling me.
Yeah, that should make you do better.
Oh, yeah.
You should want praise from me.
Wow, that speaks volumes into your relationships. This is why he hasn't been given the executive director role.
Hang on. Take it one more time.
No. This is it.
Take it one more time.
Again, another great magnification of your relationships.
Welcome to the 400th episode of Dr. DC.
It's fine.
It's
400. It's not 500. It's fine.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
It's the 40th anniversary, not the 50th
No,
anniversary.
you're right. Fuck it. Who gives a shit? Yeah.
If we even get that long.
Yeah, I mean, at this rate.
Yeah. And when we get to the 500th, that's when we do the
Kill
Lord of the
ourselves on air.
Rings.
Oh, sorry.
What?
What?
Pardon?
Yeah, what you said.
Yeah, what I said. Yeah, it's the 400th.
It's our 400th episode.
Can't
if you
you
couldn't
tell?
tell by the insane energy that we started with. Holy shit, 400 episodes.
There's a thing that's going to be happening to this podcast. Surprisingly, at 400 is when
crazy.
things start really changing. But the funny thing to be like, how many episodes does this thing have? And it's like 400.
I mean, it is a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I mean, certainly, I know we've talked about this before. Like, when we started, I don't think either of us saw this kind of, like...
Curtain, definitely not with the setup of then.
No, absolutely not.
I don't think I could do 400 minutes.
I mean, we barely did 4 episodes of the original
concept. Truly.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it was unsustainable.
So fucking insane. What would you say is like what are top 3 like highlights since we started for you?
Oh, in total, not just in the last 100.
No, I think in total, yeah.
Oh God. I mean, probably top one right now is probably this Fan Expo.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
That was
really cool.
I think we've never really gotten to like bear witness to like the work that we've done in that way.
Yeah. It was weird to be in a place where both we were excited about the regular stuff we like, but then also people were excited about that stuff, but also they were excited about us.
Like equally.
That was weird and cool.
That I was never really expecting.
Yeah, that's fair, yeah.
And I think a big part of it for me was, I mean, I was about to hang up the...
I mean, like cue every 20 episodes. Yeah.
And then something happens and I'm like, I'm back in.
Yeah. Now I'm out.
Yeah. Truly. But I think that it was so nice to see that, like, one, we have an effect, and not just on people that are like us.
Sure. Right.
2, that on like younger people that like it resonates. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's such an important part for me, was like having like like younger people come to us.
It was disconcerting.
Yes, when they were like, you two know who you're.
Yeah,
we're talking directly to you now.
You know exactly who you are.
You two guys that are taller than us.
You made these old souls feel good for the first time in years.
We were gonna hang up our cowls, and then we saw you kids.
I was gonna Duke Nukem in A Star Is Born myself, but
different podcast.
Everything's crossover.
Hey, that's right. But yeah, I think that's probably a top one for me.
That's up there, yeah.
And then I think a second one is I'll just sort of combine them, which is like a lot of my like podcast heroes have been on this stupid podcast.
Yeah.
A thing that like, especially this one, we get like a monochrome of the amount of listeners that a lot of these people do, and yet we still were able to bring them on this show.
Yeah.
Sometimes through force.
And we've made them sink to our level.
Yeah. Sometimes through force because I was like, I'm putting on this event. You should probably do my podcast.
You're in the room and the mics are on.
Yeah,
so what are you going to do now?
Yeah. Gabrus.
I mean, really?
Yeah. But also like Jeff Kanata.
Yeah.
Like there's so many people that like are an important part of like my growing up or like my like podcast like background and things like that have been on this show that like I just like when I get real quiet, that's when or when I like emphatically nerd out on somebody on the episode, that's when you really know that it matters to me.
That's fair.
Everybody else I couldn't care fucking less. Dirt underneath my boot.
Jesus.
Wow. But the ones that really matter.
Yeah, you know who you are, maybe.
Yeah, I hope. But I think that's probably 2. And then 3 is probably just like our ability to like have experiences that we wouldn't have had otherwise. So I think like going to conventions as press, getting to like meet some of the fans that like ended up being like way cooler than us. Looking at you, Dave Rossi.
Yeah, I mean, truly. Yeah.
Like having like fans of the show that actually like we would be friends with.
Yes.
Which is like so few of you. But
yeah, don't get it twisted.
Yeah. It's a fucking...
This is not an invitation.
No. There's a small group, and you have to be invited.
Yeah, you still have to be invited.
Yeah.
Nobody has sitcom just come in privileges.
No.
Yeah.
Except for Josh.
Yeah, Josh does.
Yeah. Everybody else, you get invited.
Yeah, that's right.
Josh, you got sitcom privileges in my bedroom.
Yeah, you've got come in whenever you want privileges.
And wherever you want.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think those are probably the 3 for me, and I think like in more of like an overarching way, I think all of those things resonate with me.
I think those are all really nice choices. I was going to say our friendship.
That's probably in the top 100.
Pretty big one for me, at least.
Hey, baby, you got come in privileges.
Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you. I don't have to be invited.
No.
Wait.
Though you're very hesitant, especially if you're worried somebody else is here.
Yeah, that's true. Well, listen, I can't be that guy.
You so often come into my house with like hand over your eyes.
And like hiding behind the door like, hello?
Meanwhile, I like burst into your door like fucking Kramer.
Yeah.
I say a lot of things like Kramer too.
Yeah, you don't need to.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
And really more like Kevin Michael.
Yeah.
Or whatever his name is.
No, not Kevin Michael.
What the fuck's his name?
Michael Richards.
Michael Richards, yeah. Different guy.
Yeah.
So
Friendship
or whatever.
Definitely our friendship, not whatever. It's the most important thing in my life.
Yeah, for the next 2 years.
Oh my God. I think the sort of insanity of the Canadian Podcast Awards.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah.
And I'll extend that to kind of like getting to meet these other people, these other podcasters, and like so that community. And
the fact that we're now part of like a community rather than trying to like bolt ourselves onto the LA comedy community, we're actually part of one up here.
Yeah. And I think maybe just like recognizing that is like taken a very long time, but that's really fun. And I think I not that I want to take credit per se, but a thing that makes me feel good is that like you guys, the ones listening, like have
Made-
friendships with each other.
Yeah. No, I'm taking credit for that.
Yeah, no, you're right. We did this.
Yeah. Otherwise, it wouldn't have happened. So it's
I mean,
us.
that's you're true. Yeah, you're true.
Yeah.
I guess
Me true.
Is that going to catch on?
Yeah.
Hey man, you're true.
Dog. Bet.
I don't understand.
I'm confused and scared.
Oh no! Then they changed what it was. No, I think like that part of the community thing, just other people like hanging out or chatting or like having like these relationships that have just formed like in the way that it was weird when we went to Fan Expo and people came up and they were like, no, we're here for you.
That
As opposed to just like we like DC Comics and we heard that you did it.
That's why we slapped them in the face and we're like, what is wrong with
that
you?
was weird. And so it's also weird to just think that like there's like some friends out there that are just like, yeah, because of this. Like not because of the comics, but because of this.
We hang out because of you.
Which is sort of fun and funny.
Yeah, it's like when you date a girl and then she breaks up with you and fucks your friend.
I guess it's like, is it like that?
Yeah.
I feel like you're trying to work through something.
Anyways.
Well, you know what? I asked on the Docscord some like favorite moments, favorite things from the podcast from the last 400 episodes.
Sure, I care what they have to say.
Listen, man. Remember, like, cut that out because we fucking need them.
Oh, these are the paying ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, give me what they have to say. I care so much.
So I'm just going to run through some of these.
Sure.
I think you'll appreciate them. I had forgotten about a couple of them.
Okay.
Evil Alfred.
I mean, look.
It's been a while.
It's been a while.
But Evil Alfred, classic. It was me, Barry.
Oh, I mean, it was
Which
me.
On that note, Jaffe sent me a message that was like, canonically, Thon has never said that.
Really?
Not those words. He's come close. He said like things near it, but at any rate.
That's so funny that we've got that much power.
Really funny. Colin Zeppelin crash.
I mean,
it was an accident.
It was an accident. I don't know why it's memorable.
There was nothing we could do.
Such a sad moment that we lost our friend that day.
Yeah.
A guy we really like.
Anyway, the time Liam Sharp was on.
Hey, that was great.
That was a great one.
Yeah.
That was one of many times where I sort of gaslit my mom into listening to the show
Sure.
again, and then the episode right after was like, what if cum was thick? Like,
yeah, and then we had his daughter on.
Yeah, she was nice too.
Yeah, she was.
Anytime you and Richard start giggling hysterically over something one of you said, which fair enough.
Yeah.
Anytime Josh Gill is on, and then Josh said probably episodes 341, 342, and 343,
which are
that was from the great Richard hiatus of 2022.
God, I forgot about that.
When something may have been
things
happening.
were occurring in my life.
yeah.
And even you were like, "But you're not leaving, right?"
I come off like such a fucking needy, like.
Yeah, just listen to last year's.
I just come
Darkness.
off that way. That's not how I am.
That's not you.
And so help me God, if you say it is, I'm gonna jump off and
listen to Darkness 12 of this last year.
Please stay. I swear I'll change. I swear to God I can change.
I'll be anything. Do you want to be another podcast but still do all the same stuff?
I swear to God I'll do it.
Yeah.
The live streams.
Oh yeah. We'll be doing another one of those.
Your impressions of Bruno. Trying to do Portuguese and Irish. Bruno.
But then also you going, that's insane. That's not those. And then I go, do it.
Yeah.
The exact same.
It was a great moment. When several members of the Doc Squad sent you guys the art piece.
Oh yeah, that was such a great. I mean, it's
the pillow
right
over there.
Yeah, the pillow's right there.
The time Butt was on the pod. When Cosmic DM somehow got you guys to drink milk.
Was that because of Cosmic DM?
Well, because he rallied the troops to vote for Milk Wars.
Oh, yeah.
And then Cosmic DM wrote, I feel like I won the Milk Wars.
Yeah, and then you made me drink milk.
The Docsners and Ryan, who put that together. He also put the Doc Scored together.
Anytime that you guys do all the work I love.
True. The Jaffe episodes. Dan Dunn writing songs for us.
Oh, my God. Dan Dunn, the man who I sing his name, gives us songs.
Totally.
How perfect. My favorite thing about Dan is apparently
is that he does work for us.
Well, yeah, and then I can sing his name.
Yeah.
Because I think that was. I mean, we'll talk about it on the double this week, but that was a question.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was me to rate.
Oh, right. Yeah. The JLI episode with Jordan Morris.
Oh, I mean, Jordan Morris. There's another one of those like podcast like heroes of mine.
Mm-hmm.
He might be coming on again sometime.
I don't know. Office Thon.
Hey, I mean, every iteration of Thon.
Yeah. Whose coffee is this? It was tea, Barry.
Yeah. Office Thon, It Was Me, and the Thon song. All incredible.
The non-existent Lord of the Rings podcast because
told
someone
you.
let Richard move the goalpost.
No, it's 500 episodes, like I always said it was.
Insane. Also, I didn't remember this one. Also, they said not getting the evil Alfred behind the dumpster tattoo at 150 reviews. Did we actually agree to that? I just thought I said you should do it. Did you agree to it?
No.
Listeners, go back through the archives. Find
What does that even mean?
that you would get a tattoo of evil Alfred hiding behind the dumpster,
Oh,
like in the alley. Like, give it a little pop.
wow, that would be crazy if I
Go
said
back
yes.
and see if there's a verbal contract. Chris, you can confirm what constitutes a verbal contract.
I mean, I'll
Go back through the episode. Someone find it. Send it to Chris. Chris, verify whether or not it constitutes a verbal contract that Richard needs this tattoo. And if it does, I'll make it happen.
Chris is canonically my favorite resident right now.
But Chris loves one thing more than anything else.
Law.
I think.
So,
And then
I'll
last
stand
thing,
by what he says.
last thing on this list here is one of my favorite things is when you both get so giddy with a bit that it becomes your main focus for minutes on end.
Listen.
Most recent example that had me cackling was when you were both replacing the word breast in fine dining dishes. I almost had to pull my car over. I was laughing so hard.
That is a good bit.
I'll have the duck tits au jus.
Also, everything's a crossover. Listen to the last week's Ghostfacers.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, what were we doing on that one?
Duke Nukem, Star is Born.
Duke Nukem Star is Born.
Also,
Pre-strip,
yeah,
but it was Minority Report, but instead of being precognitive, they were just before strippers.
but also, what if Suits was about strippers?
and also what if Suits was about
but still,
strippers?
like, kind of law.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was dense.
Yeah.
It was a tough
An
episode.
onion of joke.
Yeah, it sure was. Yeah, holy shit. The memories. I did something else. Not that cool.
Is this
but
another one of those "I will remember you" like songs?
No.
With okay,
No. No, I did that when a game sailed off into the...
yes,
Yeah. No, what I did, I realized I had done this, I think, all the way back for the 200th.
Yeah.
And I didn't do it for the 300th. But I totaled all the minutes of podcast
you did this again
on the main feed.
How did you? Oh, do you just see how long it all was and then broke it down into minutes? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't that hard.
Okay.
Yeah, you pretty much answered it. That was how I did it.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
And
So, on the main feed,
is this in total?
the total main feed,
Yeah.
34,561 minutes.
Oh my god.
That works out to 576 hours,
Oh my god.
or about 24 days.
So you could listen to us nonstop, 24 hours a day.
You could listen to us nonstop for almost 4 full weeks.
Good god.
Yeah.
I wonder if you broke that into like a regular like work day, like say like 8 hours a day.
Right.
How many days would that end up turning into?
Well, 24 hours is 3 times 8. So if you had 24 days, you basically just triple it, I think. And that
So
would be how
26.
many, like, well, sorry, that would be, you triple it.
72?
You triple it to have 8-hour days, and then you'd have to, like, get rid of weekends and shit. But, like
72 days, basically.
I think we're effectively talking, like, 3 to 4 months of work days worth of podcast.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good lord.
I know. Isn't that insane?
Yeah. Sorry for anybody who's done that.
No, I'm not. Keep it up.
Yeah.
And one more little update.
Okay.
It's been a while since I checked on... You know how on Spotify we get ratings, but we don't get reviews?
Sure. Yeah.
It's been a while since I updated
Oh,
that.
okay.
And it's been a quantum leap
Oh, okay.
in the number of reviews that we've got. We are now currently sitting at. I updated us. We are now at 260.
Spotify, like 5 stars.
Well,
or-
that brings the total up to 260. There was like another 50 on Spotify.
Oh wow, just Spotify.
Yeah,
insane.
so we're up to 260.
Wow,
total now.
we are a podcast.
We are Canada's best podcast.
Well, damn.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that fucking crazy?
Yeah, this shouldn't continue.
No, I think it goes until we can't. I think
mean-
this should go until like
I mean, I don't think we ever could.
us and the equipment wear out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he's also said in his past relationships.
It's the thing I've said at every gym I've ever gone to.
As he steps on it and breaks it. Guess I can't do it.
Yeah, I didn't actually know that like there was a weight rating
The whole point of this was that you could go from big to
on
small.
the floor.
Yeah. I think he was worried about for his comics room.
I mean, that wasn't because of me though, you piece of shit. It was because
But also you
of-
were hesitant going in the room.
Sometimes I feel like it maybe me, yeah.
Hear an errant crack and we're like, oh no,
It's happening.
this is the time.
Oh no, she was right.
All right. So with that,
It's 100th. It's a milestone episode. So we got questions from past guests.
yeah,
A bunch of them.
the people who matter.
I went and put them in like what I thought was like a fun order. Richard's just gonna do whatever the fuck he wants
I'm
to
doing
do.
it alphabetical because that's how they show up in this folder, and it's easier for me rather than jumping around.
Fine.
If we even make it to 500.
Oh, we'll make it.
Yeah.
It'd be like you ask a question, and you just hear like,
Oh, that's 2 beeps. It means yes.
yeah. He clenched his fingers together. That means Superman would fuck Lois on the moon.
Yeah, because in that scenario, I still need the podcast to keep going. No, I would do it for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would
See,
do it.
listen, we've had ups and downs, baby, but you're my fucking ride or die.
That's right, baby.
Hell yeah.
I mean, you saw how I answered that one question about taking a bullet for you.
Yeah, I liked that. I was like, oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah, whatever. I also did say that I wouldn't like.
Well, no.
Yeah.
Don't die for me.
Yeah.
I need you to produce the podcast. What good are you dead to me?
Fair. First question
Yeah, let's do this.
from. I mean, we brought him up already. One prior to Chris Jam, probably my favorite resident,
Okay.
Dave Rossi.
Oh, hell yeah.
Let's see what Dave has to say.
Hey guys, it's Dave Rossi calling. Congratulations on 400 episodes. Holy cow. That's fantastic. You guys are doing the Lord's work. Hey, here's a question I sometimes knock around and would love to hear your take on it. If Kal-El had never come to Earth, which character in DC do you think would have filled that role of hopeful paragon? And based on who you pick, how would that character have affected the DC universe differently than how Superman has? Thanks. And here's to 400 more. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.
God, 400 more?
I mean, that was a heavy question mark.
Yeah.
Yeah, good question. All right. So Superman is like the hopeful center of the
Yeah.
DC universe. So the question is, if Kal-El never landed on Earth, if he never became Superman, if that just didn't happen, who would you see as like the center of the DC universe? Who would take on that role?
I mean, my sort of initial thing is either so here's the problem. Let me go through the JL
Sure.
group, I think. It can't be Batman because he's not the heart of anything.
Well, he's certainly not the hope of much.
No. I think like the sort of like of the main sort of 7, like I think that Martian Manhunter probably has the most like of the like leadership Superman-esque sort of thing next
Right.
to Wonder Woman.
Interesting.
But he doesn't really like represent hope to me.
Sure.
I think Wonder Woman's great, but I don't really get the sense of like hope. She's so much more about justice, I think, in a way that like even Batman isn't.
Okay.
She's about like fairness and like and I think like that kind of justice, not the like vengeance that I think Batman.
Yeah,
really
sure.
is.
Yeah.
I think Barry is probably my closest to like actual hope. Like, I don't think Arthur doesn't represent that to me.
You're right.
I think it has to be Barry for me. I think a Green Lantern is about will, but that I don't necessarily conflate the two, will and hope, as the same thing.
I think that reasoning is relatively solid because you're right. I think to touch on that thing with the Flash,
Yeah.
like, you know, think like Superman is the sort of person that wants to see the best in his adversaries.
Yeah.
Or he wants them to turn over a new leaf. The Flash is kind of next closest to that, right? You think about his relationship with the Rogues.
Totally.
And that kind of like, I think that makes a lot of sense. There was a part of me that wanted to say Nightwing, because even in the DC universe with Superman,
yeah,
Nightwing is kind of there. But then I had this question of like Nightwing and Superman's relationship has been expanded so much, and like even taking that name is like a tribute to him. So if Superman wasn't there,
would he still become
maybe
the
the
same
knock-on
character?
effect would be different, you know, which is part of Dave's question. I think I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up the story JLA the Nail, which is kind of about a world where Superman isn't the glue.
Sure.
But that world doesn't really, I don't think it really tackles the idea of that kind of thing where it's like, well, surely there must be someone in that position, and what would the universe do to put someone there? It's more of just like it's missing.
Yes.
And then the JLA kind of comes together anyway, but under weird, different circumstances.
Sure, yeah.
I like the Flash.
Yeah.
I think that's a really strong one.
Totally.
Maybe even stronger as Wally than as Barry.
Absolutely. Also, did you see the thing recently? I mean, this might just be like a trope that like everyone knows, but I had never really heard about it like before, which is like typically like when Hollywood diversifies a character, it's always the redhead.
Is this the redhead thing?
Yeah. I had never seen that before.
I've seen people like show like the pattern of like redheads being recast as like people of color, which there are obvious lots of cases of, but I also wonder like what the confirmation bias is. Where like how many times was a redheaded character not?
I mean, sure,
recast,
yeah.
But
I did think that was interesting.
But I have seen those things, and it is interesting.
Yeah.
Although, I mean, surely if you've seen those, you've also seen the weird rabbit hole of like redheaded people be like, it's ginger genocide.
Oh my god, yeah.
There's so many weird
Yeah.
Every interesting observation is followed by an immediate like insane.
Yeah, someone went way too far.
Yeah. But yeah, I think I agree with you. I think the Flash is a good one to throw in there. The Flash even was deputized into the Blue Lanterns, the Hope Corps during Blackest Night. So
hell yeah.
I like it.
All right, well, with that, let's go to the next question.
Okie doke.
From Big Daddy.
Oh,
yeah, he flopped his big dick into this fucking question
how
pool.
dare you?
I'm sorry, his tiny dick? Your dad has a tiny dick? Is
That's
that what
not the bit I had an issue with.
Oh my god, he's whacking me in his face with his tiny little dick of questions? Wow, fucking good son.
I wonder what my family thinks of you.
Hi there, Dr. DC and producer Richard. This is Dr. DC Sr. And here's my question. How have DC Comics addressed social justice issues in their pages? Have they reflected the major social issues of the day, such as the formation of unions, voting rights for women, anti-war protests, equal rights movement, AIDS, LGBTQ, and so on? And have they ever been on the wrong side of history? I love what you guys do, and congrats on your 400th episode.
Wow, the tenor in that voice. What a tiny dick question. You're right. You're right,
Once
Reed.
again, my parents will be like, it's their milestone. We're going to listen. Nope.
Fucking, you know what? Fool me once, but like at this point.
It's like fool me 8th times.
This is on them now.
Yeah.
So has DC tackled like social justice stuff as it's come up throughout history?
I mean, we know that
Absolutely.
they have.
We're
right?
currently sort of, I think, dealing with some of that
There's
stuff.
Lots
Always
of stuff.
far too behind, I think, but still addressing it.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing with social justice. By the time the quote issue comes up, it's by nature too late.
Yeah.
Or otherwise we'd already live in an equitable,
Sure.
So, that is what it is. But I mean, we've talked about a bunch of these different things before. I mean, you didn't like it, but we read that the Green Arrow issue.
Oh yeah, we got slapped in the face by that one. I remember
about AIDS, about HIV.
Yeah.
You also made us read the fucking Hemogoblin.
A tasteful addressing.
Yeah, I mean, really, two sides of the fucking that New Guardians
somehow
issue.
both doing the same thing.
Yeah, like there's Kate Kane, Batwoman was like a real exploration about like what it meant to be gay, getting kicked out of the military. Like there's a whole like don't ask, don't tell thing in there, and all of that kind of shit. Obviously race. We always go back to like Green Lantern, Green Arrow. Put that like that panel of like you help the purple skins and the whatever. You don't do anything to help the like all that kind of thing. Why do you think they call me Black Manta?
Yes, your favorite.
We've tackled that. We tackle like sexual politics and stuff like that. Even like in the inception of Wonder Woman, like right, that's woven into the fabric of the original Golden Age Wonder Woman.
And then they said, fuck it, let's just make her a home cleaning. Fucking like.
What if she was just like a normal day? It's me, Robert Kanigher.
Yeah.
We get like a cease and desist from the Kanigher estate.
Fucking come for me.
The answer is yes. Comics kind of have always tackled those things, and I think broadly they have tried to be on the right side of it, even in issues where we look back now and go like, uh-oh.
And we've talked about that.
Like that
Lois Lane.
I'm curious, parentheses, black, where Lois is black for
the setup
was
a much worse than the actual follow-through.
But exactly, right? Like, we were surprised at like how not insane that issue ended up
considering,
being. Considering. So I think in general,
they try
to. Now, there's crazy elements out there in comics, and not everyone is always. I think in general, in the fields of art and creativity, you're weighted more on.
Looking at you, Tyrock.
You're weighted more on the liberal. Too lefty.
You're dealing with artists and writers. Like typically, you're going to end up in doing a more progressive approach.
But no one thing is a monolith.
Yeah.
There are conservative creators, and there are people that feel differently.
Look at you, Frank Miller.
Totally. But also, like your point with Tyrock, right? Like there's that editorial, interference there that made that character a pretty. Like racist representation.
There's also people that maybe haven't even.
Tyrock, for those who don't remember, was like the first Black Legionnaire, but his power was like chanting.
Yeah.
There's
also people who haven't come out necessarily with negative opinions. People like Tom Grummett.
I love the insane, like the pre-cancellation of Tom Grummett. It's really funny to me.
Which is probably I'm not even gonna say that. There's a world in which he's maybe a really nice guy.
Or there's a world in which you're exactly right and I've been defending him the whole time.
And you know what?
Either way,
the chances are mine's probably right just because of history. Yeah. But
I'm trying to think of.
Also, I won't be burned again.
Superman was pro-union and shit.
Sure.
I think, especially back in the Golden Age and stuff like that.
But yeah, I think that they've.
I'm trying to think of like
a
real big example of them being on the wrong side of history. Where I think it happens.
The pro-Nazi thing. Yeah.
I think I think most of the examples are where they try and do like a both sidesism.
Oh.
Like the thing in Pocahontas where it's like, I guess we were also wrong about white people. Where it's like, that's not really
that's not
really the point here.
No.
I think you could probably find a lot of examples of that. Like maybe if we all just took it like it's like, well,
there are good and bad people on both sides.
I think you probably see a lot more of that.
Sure.
But I mean, if you're just saying, are there instances of racism, sexism, things like that? Of course there are. But I think by and large, even if it's way delayed, way too late, or too little, not enough, in general, I'd say the arc of comics history tends toward
Progress.
and social justice.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, there are anomalies in there. You can find them. I don't necessarily know them off the top of my head. But
Totally.
Yeah.
All right. Next question comes from Heather Antos.
woo!
Hello there. This is Heather Antos calling in with my question for the 400th episode. And my question is, which DC character do you think is best suited to be a penguin?
Easy. Anyone but Oswald Cobblepot.
So I'm assuming this is anybody to become like an actual animal penguin?
Yeah, let's imagine there's some sort of like animalize ray
Sure.
that turns everyone into an animal. Who knows what animal you turn into, but who do you think would turn into a penguin?
Well, let's remove Cobblepot from this.
Sure. He's the one with the ray,
Yes.
let's say.
Yeah, because he's trying to make them into penguins.
Well, sorry, is it a ray that makes everyone into penguins? Because that's not the same.
No, he's making the one true penguin.
I'm going to find the true penguin.
and then make them into a penguin.
Yeah, but it'll turn everyone else into random
Yeah,
animals.
and then I'm gonna.
Kind of like Commandy style, it'll turn people into
He calls it his French flipper trick.
Yeah. There's the pussy I've been looking for.
So
Insane.
who in the DC universe? I have an answer.
Okay, I think there's two ways you can go about this.
Mhm.
You can go about it the way where it's like cold, like the theme, the powers. Or you could do what I'm going to do, be like someone in a tuxedo, and I'm going to say
Alfred.
Zatanna.
Oh,
Alfred.
yeah.
He'd be such a cute little guy.
Yeah, that was my thought.
Alfred as a penguin?
Yeah.
Oh, see, I went Zatanna. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, like a black and white suit thing, though.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the way I was going.
I mean, me too, but from a different angle.
Or for ultimate confusion, Zebra Man.
he's black and white.
If he was already kind of an animal.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
he was-
Animal Man.
Yeah, I think I like the idea of like when the animals like look more like the people. So to me, it's got to be someone in a fun tuxedo.
For me, Alfred was because he's like kind of like stiff and just sort of like
I like that.
taps around.
Yeah.
Feels like a he's already part penguin.
I mean, you're right with the personality thing too. Maybe Zatanna is actually not right for it, but like Zatara,
sure,
like her dad would be a decent penguin, I think.
for sure. Or Martian Manhunter is like a emperor penguin.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Has like a bit of like that like broad shoulder sort of like regal thing.
Well, that's the other thing. There are different types of penguins too.
Yeah.
There's like rock hoppers.
Oh, they're so fucking cute.
It was a rock hopper. I see a little penguin
We were in the Arctic.
gathering stones.
Everyone
Wait a
had.
minute, in the Arctic.
Oh, we were in the Antarctic.
Nice.
Everyone had matching stones.
I like it. Thanks,
It
Heather.
was a rock hopper.
Oh.
So fucking good. I was watching a TikTok the other day where they were watching a penguin like bring a rock to another penguin.
that's
and they were just
cute.
like, yeah, he's fucking doing it.
Hell
and they're like,
yeah.
she took it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They were like cheering on their boy.
Yeah, it was fucking awesome.
That's cute.
All right. Well, of course. How could we have an episode without Jaffe? A man and I he messaged me after we had the AI double.
Yeah.
And I thought he was going to be mad at me at first because he messaged me and he's like, did you bring me up? Like, did you talk about me in that episode? And I was like, uh-oh. And I was like, yeah, more about like how you were justified though.
Yeah.
And he's like, haha, nice. Maybe I'll listen. And I was like, hell yeah. And I was like, also read back your play. Also, I think you'll appreciate the results of it all. Reed very much shares your sentiment. I think we end in a good place. And then he gave me a heart.
Yeah. Yeah, I absolutely share his sentiment, but not his moral fiber because I
Yeah.
still agreed to it.
Yeah, because we got him put on an episode.
Because nothing's more important than content.
Yeah.
I'm just a slave to the machine.
Yeah. All right, let's listen to what he has to say.
Hey, Dr. DC. This is professional DC Comics expert Alex Jaffe calling
Rub it
in
in.
to congratulate you on 400 episodes and also to poach your listeners for my new show. Before the end of the year, I'm launching a far superior podcast with co-host Geeta Jackson, where we'll be going through every issue of the 2006 52 Maxi series in all its glorious detail. We call it 52 Pickup, and you'll hear more about it whether the doctor likes it or not once we launch. Anyway, I was supposed to ask you a question, so here it is. What are your ideal circumstances for reading comics? Lately, I like to pick a trade paperback or a graphic novel off the shelf at my Barnes & Noble and settle into one of their comfy chairs and read a few issues or chapters for an hour on my lunch break before going back to work. What about you? Happy 400!
Huh. After all I've done.
I do like that.
After all I've done for you, done for me.
Yeah, all I've done for
Wait.
that you've done for me.
Yeah, fuck, shit.
Yeah, he was part of the Richard disappearing ending.
Yeah.
But also, people tried to like call me on the Sunday. They were like, "So, like, are you worried about Jaffe's podcast?" And I was like, "I mean, I think we're doing very different things."
Yeah. I mean, listen, he's not wrong when he says it'll probably be better.
Yeah, but in what way?
But if we were aiming for better, we'd surely have done it by now.
Yeah,
It's 400 episodes.
yeah. I think we are what we are.
I think we know exactly what we are, and I think you know what you are by being here.
That's right.
So this is really a wake-up call for all of us, is what I'm trying to say.
Okay, so what is your ideal reading setup?
My ideal reading setup is, I really like to lounge when I'm reading.
Sure.
So I'm either lying on the couch, or I have a big chair in my room that I can kind of curl up in. I like to have it all around me. I have a drink, a drink of water or something. I've got let's say it's when I pick up my books. I've got my new books, and then I've got the pile where I've finished reading them.
Sure.
And I keep it very and I put them all in order, alphabetical order.
That's how you have to read them?
That's how I read them. With the exception of if it's a cross-title crossover and part 3 is in Wonder Woman and
so
part 4 is in Nightwing or
you
something.
organize them as though they were going into a box.
I get the comics home. I put them in alphabetical order.
Even though that's how they're not going away.
Even though that's not how they're going away. Well, they are, but not like that.
Yeah, but I know, but that's
I put them
funny.
on the table. I read through them that way. Again, unless there's a sequence thing, for an event or a storyline or something. And then...
Do you go A to Z or Z day?
A to Z? What?
Well, because then when they're done, they're now the opposite way.
No, because there's something this sounds insane. It's so much more work than it needs to be, but I either scan them all before I...
Sure.
Well, no, sorry. A couple of times I scanned them all before I read them, and then I realized I didn't like that.
Yuck.
So I read them all.
Yeah.
Then I flip the pile back. Then I scan them all.
Then
I flip the pile back.
Oh my God.
And then they go to be put away and stuff. But I enough light to read, but I don't it's usually not an overhead light. It's just a lamp or something.
Sure, yeah.
I read by that. It's the one time I don't have 5 things going. We've talked about it a bunch on the pod. When I'm working, I've got shit open on my phone. YouTube's playing.
Yes.
The TV's on.
It upsets me.
It's the only way I can work. But when I'm reading, that's the one time I have actual serenity.
Wow.
It's the only time. Yeah. But I like to be comfy. Sweatpants in my home, that sort of thing. Sometimes I'll bring them when my daughter's in dance class and I'm sitting out in the hall or something I could do. Sometimes I'll read them there, but I find it's too distracting. So
Sure.
I usually quiet, comfy at home is usually how I read.
Nice.
Yeah.
So there's probably a small handful. I rarely have time for just comics, and I'm usually doing a bunch of other stuff, and so it's hard for me to carve out the time. But there's a few times that I always end up doing it. Most of the time it's always on vacation is usually when I have the most time for that, and I bring a stack with me whenever I go on a trip.
Right.
Especially on planes. I love reading on planes. The more often is, especially when I'm on vacation, in the summers or in like a warm location. I love going on a deck when there's nothing to do that day, and just like me and like a partner are like, but like they're reading a book and then I'm reading comics.
Yeah,
like
I like
out
that.
on a deck, and just like that's like my perfect scenario.
I like that.
Or if I get up early and I don't have like a game I'm currently playing or anything like that, and I get up a little earlier than usual, and I'll like go sit on the couch and like turn on a couple lights and just like with a coffee and go through a trade or something. Like
Sure.
that's probably my scenario that I go to most, and it's either like in the middle of winter or in like the summer and the windows are open,
I like that.
that kind of thing. Typically, yeah, it's rare that I can prioritize specifically comics because it's such a still thing, and I'm bad at that.
Right.
Where I'm not actively engaging in the thing that I'm doing, or it's not like high energy, like it's such a passive thing. So I find that it's hard for me to prioritize it. But when it's like that's the action is don't do anything, that's when I do the best. So on a plane, in a car, or on vacation,
That makes sense.
where the goal of the day is to not do anything.
Yeah, right.
That's when I have the most where I'm not like, oh, I need to.
Because it doesn't feel like you're like quote wasting time. Like
Yeah.
this was already meant to be nothing time.
Yes.
So this is
even when I'm like watching a movie, I'm like folding laundry at the same time. Like I have a hard time just doing nothing.
Sure.
And so when that is the goal, that's always when I will prioritize that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's probably
That makes sense. Yeah. Nice.
That's- all right, let's go to the next question. Oh, speaking of Jordan Morris, he sent us in a question.
Hey, Dr. DC, this is Jordan Morris from the Jordan Jesse Go podcast and the writer of the upcoming graphic novel Youth Group, available for pre-order now. I wanted to ask about the Batman 66 comics. I was a huge fan of the Adam West Batman series as a kid, and I've heard great things about the comics. Apparently, there have been some cool crossovers with the likes of the Green Hornet and Archie. I wanted to know, where's a good place to start with this series, and how does it connect to the original show? And hey, congrats on 400 episodes. Woo!
I mean, first of all, the Jordan Jesse Go podcast has so many episodes. They've been going for like 20 years. It's crazy.
I think we're going that long.
They've been going so fucking long. It's
They were like the first podcast.
truly one of the first. Like they've been going so long.
Outrageous.
Insane. Also, Jordan Morris, huge advocate, like huge like visible presence during the strikes going on right now in Hollywood. Also looks like a fucking zaddy with that beard.
Yeah, looking good.
Yeah. Like absolute fucking hottie patati. And insane that he engaged with our podcast. That's another. See, this is the thing. It's like when it matters, it's like it matters too much to me.
Yeah, you just clammed right up there.
Yeah. So his question.
So the nice thing I would say about the Batman 66 comics is that, like the TV show, you don't have to worry too much about, like the continuity. They're comics, so there is some slight, like, more connective tissue, but
Still, that's not what they're shooting
it's
for.
pretty episodic.
Yeah.
Like you could pretty much just pick up an issue.
Yeah, there's some really. I think I have
Like
one
stuff
with.
stories might go like for a couple of issues, but just you could just pick one up, I think, and jump in. And
I have a Man from U.N.C.L.E. one, I think, crossover. Yeah,
that's a cool crossover one.
Yeah.
I like that one a lot. I think the thing that really makes them fun is when they get to the point where they retro introduce characters.
Oh yeah, like the Riddler the first time. The Riddler comes into the comic, that kind of thing.
No, like what I
Oh,
mean,
you mean like a modern
a
character,
character
like a Harley
that was
Quinn.
not in the 60s,
Oh,
but
yeah.
yeah, Harley, Bane.
Oh, I love that. And how do you 60s-ify?
How
those
do you
characters?
60s them? Like that stuff's really fun. They did do a special where they did the scrapped Harlan Ellison Two-Face script.
Oh.
That it was an episode that never got made, a two-parter that never got made, that would have introduced Two-Face in the
Crazy.
60s show, but it was deemed like too dark.
Wow.
And I think they wanted Shatner to be it. And eventually when they made it an animated film, Shatner voiced
Love that.
Two-Face, but they did that for it. But I mean, truly, the thing that
My
is so
face.
sorry, do it again.
My face.
I feel like the Shatner impression needs more than 2 words, or it's hard to parse what the pause is.
Ow, my face.
Nope. Never mind. Yeah.
Come over here, Two-Face.
Yeah. Squid Cash. No, I mean, the thing that's great about Batman 66 is like literally just pick up a thing that looks cool. You know, like there are things that connect like issue to issue, but it's not like trying to dive into like Batman or trying to like you're not sifting through a ton of stuff. And because it's modeled on the format of the show, you often have these narrative captions. So it's like, meanwhile, at the like, I'm doing the voice from Super Friends, but
Yeah.
it like the books themselves have the narrative like
Yeah.
kind of thing. So you go like, well, last time our Cape Crusader,
Yeah.
like they do that shit in the comics. So
Featuring you too.
you can pretty much like, yeah, musical guest.
Yeah.
You can pretty much pick up anywhere and it'll catch you up. Like the format of the show actually makes those comics hyper accessible,
That's awesome.
which is pretty cool.
I love that.
Yeah, they're really neat.
Amazing. All right, next question. From couldn't do a podcast, any podcast without Josh Gill.
Oh yeah, sexy Gil.
Oh, fucking fill me to the gills.
Yeah, Gil to the brim.
Yeah. It's been a while since we've done that.
Yeah.
What's up, guys? Josh Gill calling in. Man, 400 fucking episodes. Proud of you guys. Proud of Richard for putting up with it for this long. But, you know, like asking somebody who their favorite child is. I guess, you know, everybody always does have a... Yeah, this metaphor is going off the rails. Anywho, 400 episodes. Question for you. Over the last 400 episodes, talked a lot about fucking everything having to do with DC Comics and a lot of things that don't have to do with DC Comics. What is one topic, storyline, character, something DC related that we have not talked about on the show yet that you've always wanted to? Just haven't done it for whatever reason. Not sure how to do it tactfully. Don't think that the topic is big enough to merit a full episode. Haven't been able to convince the other one to talk about it. Like, what is one thing, creator, artist, you know, whatever it is, that you've always wanted to talk about but haven't yet? Curious. Appreciate you guys. Also, Richard, I'm a little upset that you haven't responded to my DM yet. I thought that picture really would have done it for you, but I guess not.
Wow, air conditioner's on strong at the gym.
Yeah, I'm glad that you called us through a can on a train going under a plane.
Yeah, well, he was busy. He was coming up with Superman.
Yeah.
Joke only for the Canadians.
Yeah, no. So good. What was that character you were talking about?
Sorry, he wears tights. Who's going to read this anyway? So the question is,
Yeah.
what is a topic or character or theme?
I mean, you've been
that
pushing a
we've-
lot of your race thoughts for years that I won't let us talk about.
Yeah, I just want to be clear that my thoughts on it are welcome.
Oh, I thought it was that F1 is the superior car
Oh, yeah, sorry, that's
driving.
the master race.
Yeah. That's the master race.
Yeah.
It's Monaco.
Yeah. Oh, what's my master race?
Yeah.
Monaco.
Can you tell I've been watching that F1 Netflix
yeah.
series?
Listen, man, the fucking Monaco Grand Prix is hard. That's insane.
That's like the hard one. That's the one that it's like.
but
Also, if you're the problem with
listen,
here's the thing.
you can't underestimate the hairpin turn at the Cours Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal. I have thoughts on F1.
The problem with Monaco is that if you're in the lead, it's really hard to not just stay in the lead.
Monaco is just not exciting to watch. I think.
Because it's like there's so little chance for anybody to ever pass.
Do you know?
It's challenging for racers, but not
Do
necessarily.
you know a
for
great track?
punchers.
Silverstone.
Absolutely.
Great. Or the Nürburgring?
Nuremberg ring?
No, the Nürburgring. You know, the Nuremberg ring.
I really prefer train racing.
Yeah, man, that Michael Schumacher sure is charismatic. Jesus.
Anyways.
Is there a theme or topic or character that we've not really discussed on the show that you would want to do?
Oh, I mean, it's tough because like there's always going to be like books that I really like that probably wouldn't be a great for like a single like episode.
Sure.
I think
Is
that
there like an example?
I'm trying to think that like if I look at my books of stuff that I would love for us to like I mean we sort of did that Mr. Miracle book.
We've talked around the New Gods
Yeah.
quite a bit, but yeah. I mean, the one that I see there is we haven't done V for Vendetta.
Sure.
We've never just done an episode on that.
No.
But I think that's one of those ones where I kind of go like, sorry, I mean, I shouldn't say there's not enough to talk about. There's plenty to talk about, but it's one of those ones where I go, it's really narrow.
Yeah.
And so that's not one that like comes to mind. But like, there's all sorts of DC stuff outside of the superhero comics. And I'd say if there's anything where there's something for us to do more of, it would be like more stuff in the Vertigo realm. Like we had some
Sure.
like a couple of vague Vertigo episodes, like one with Kyle and stuff like that. But like, it's probably more in that kind of stuff. We did the Fables episode with David Carrion and stuff. But like,
Yeah, typically it's
I think
guest
it's
led
in some of those realms.
because you're not as like experienced in Vertigo as you are in DC.
Certainly not all of it.
Yeah,
you
because
know,
it's just it's its own label. Like
yeah. So I mean, probably some of that stuff could use maybe a little bit more love.
there's individual artists that I would be fun to cover
Totally.
because we've done a lot of like Morrison and things like that, but like we haven't done a lot of other writers and stuff.
Yeah, I think there's another one where it's like there was a whole era of like basically DC like strip comics,
Sure,
not like like
yeah, a
that.
guy who clearly goes to the strip club all the time.
Yeah,
you know,
they're-
strip clubs.
They're still playing like old timey music, right? It's still like ragtime. Welcome to the stage, Charisse.
I do like that you did the piano playing for me.
Yes, yeah. Well, you know.
I think that there is a lot of like themes and stuff that like, I mean, we've started to give me the reins a little bit when we're
Yeah.
not in themed months and stuff.
Yeah.
There's tons of like themes that I would love to address that we haven't yet.
And the thing that I always like is the idea of like going back to a thing just with a slightly different angle. You know, we've talked about like Green Lanterns or
Yeah.
different colored Lantern Corps or just the earthbound villains of Green Lantern. Like,
Sure.
I think because it's so vast, there's always like a thing, but
I don't think there's one thing that either of us have been like waiting to do.
I think if there was anything, it's that if I had more access to more older stuff, I'd love to spend more time on Golden Age,
Sure.
early Silver Age kind of stuff. But that's just a matter for me of access.
Totally. And there's lots of like online resources and things like that, but it's like also like when do you go to the old stuff to
Well, and some of it is like, you know, when we're talking about other stuff, it's like, well, I've read a bunch of these things. Some of them I've read multiple times. Some of them, if we were going to really dive in on something, it's like now I need the time to like read like however many issues, like it would take more prep and stuff. So it's not impossible, but it's just it's one of those things that like there's an obvious reason why that kind of stuff doesn't happen as much.
Totally.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go to the next question. Oh, another favorite for either pod,
Okay.
Mr. Kyle Clark.
Oh, let's have it.
Hey guys, it's Kyle Clark. I just wanted to say congratulations on 400 episodes. I can still remember the early days of this show when it was just two guys sitting in a spare bedroom playing gay chicken. And now look at you. You're in a completely different room. But I do have a question for you. After hosting a Simpsons trivia show for 8 years, my relationship with my favorite TV show has been totally altered by such extended exposure. I still love it, but I have a very different relationship with it as a fan. My question is, after 400 episodes, how has your relationship changed with DC Comics as a brand, DC characters, and reading comics in general? Congratulations again, guys, on 400 episodes, and thanks for letting me be on your show that isn't the supernatural one.
I mean,
God,
it really actually has been a while since Kyle's been on this show.
It's true.
Which is
God, I
funny.
fucking love Kyle.
I also love that he remembers the early days where it was just the two of us.
Yeah. Yeah, just the two of us.
Yep. It certainly wasn't different even when he was on.
Yep,
Yep.
certainly was.
Yeah. How is you? Well, I mean, we know some of the answer to this, but how has your relationship to comics changed from when we started the podcast to now?
I mean, it's so funny because like my knowledge and like the references that I can pull out sometimes upset me.
Mm-hmm. They get me going.
I know they do.
Yeah.
I mean, we're sitting around what is a gigantic collection of comic books for any normal person.
Yes.
It's I got in deep, and I
Yes.
don't get in deep for anything that I enjoy.
Yeah, this was famously weird for you.
Yeah, me to like really dive deep into a thing that I enjoy is crazy.
I actually think the weirdest part of it is how obstinately you weren't into it for so long and then something snapped. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like every year he gets a few more books. It was like, yeah, they're fine. Yeah, they're fine. Yeah, we do the show. Yeah, it's a comedy show. It's barely a comic book podcast. And then it was like, oh, could we buy 6,000 comics all at once?
To be fair,
do it. And then it
I
was
didn't
fuck.
start that conversation.
I mean,
but when it was a chance to do something like that,
yes, yeah.
and
then
the
it was
deal
like,
was good.
But then it wasn't just that. Then it was like, oh, I just read like 100 issues of Action Comics.
Yeah.
So like, I just, like,
Well, yeah,
you really
'cause-
went hard.
Yeah, because I don't. Yeah, maybe I do things a little bit all in when I'm in.
Now, here's a question.
Yeah,
Are you still getting comics, or have you?
I've stopped a
Have
little
you
bit
eased off?
because I'm financially in a different situation for the last few months.
Sure.
My life has changed, and so it's but I'm on the precipice of that all changing. So I'm about to come into some money and also have to stop spending as much money. So it might come back around.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten a call from the comic book stores that my shit's there yet, so obviously it hasn't been too long.
When was the last time you picked stuff up? Because like
It was with you. It was probably with Neil.
Okay. That's
Wasn't
not
that long
That's
ago.
a couple months. Yeah, it's not too long. Yeah,
not too long, right? And so there's a stack waiting for me, but it hasn't been too crazy. But I also bought some when we were in Toronto, so it's again like it hasn't been that long. Like I'm still buying stuff.
Yeah, it's
maybe
true.
not at the veracity that I was once.
I mean, you couldn't have maintained that. You were going like every day. You were like, I bought 300 more comics.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
I went 0 to 100 pretty fast. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think so. Like the collecting has definitely changed. My perspective and like knowledge of DC in general has changed.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it definitely like changes my view of like even comic book like entertainment. Like obviously DC doesn't have the breadth that Marvel has of characters out there and things like that in the like movie and TV world,
No, I know
especially
what you
movie world.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But even still, like the stuff that we have gotten to see, I have like a way better knowledge of. Even just watching the Harley Quinn show, like they bring in more like deep cut characters and things like that. Like that stuff's happening, and I think as James Gunn moves in, we're going to start seeing a lot more deeper cut characters.
Oh yeah,
and
we're gonna get the
we've already seen
Creature
that with,
Commandos.
Yeah,
and
we've
shit.
already
Yeah,
seen it with
yeah.
Suicide Squad. Like we are getting those things, and for me to like have the lore behind a lot of this stuff is fun.
Do you think that makes it like when, let's say, the Suicide Squad came out? Was there a part of you that was like, oh, I actually like know who Peacemaker is? Or like, was there anything about doing the show where you were like, oh, this is even more enjoyable than just getting something like,
I think partly
because you used to more or less go in cold.
Yeah, absolutely.
If it wasn't Batman or Superman or
totally,
something, right?
And I think that the problem is again, even with the Suicide Squad, they were bringing characters that we didn't even really talk about that much.
But like Blue Beetle, we go to watch Blue Beetle when we were in Ontario.
that helped.
Yeah.
Having the sort of like history of Blue Beetle and knowing that this is the third iteration and that kind of thing.
Well, because I noticed it too, because like we were watching the movie and they'd be like, "It's like Victoria Cord," and I could feel you like look at me and be like, "Cord," like, like, yep.
Yeah. It definitely like makes those things slightly
yeah,
better.
yeah.
I don't think you need them, but I think that
No,
it
no.
definitely like adds a like fun element to it.
Yes.
And so I think for me, it definitely has that. I mean, the comic collecting thing, yeah, it's become a poison. Like it's if I see it anywhere or if I'm around a thing where comics could be,
Right.
it's like a sixth sense, or I'm like, I bet there's fucking comics in here. Like,
Yeah.
like at an antique store or something, and I'm like, I wonder.
Man, in the early days when I was starting collecting again, antique stores were my shit.
Yeah, I mean, the last few years they've gotten a bit wiser.
Not around here, but like
Yeah,
when I was
but
living
even
in
there, like a
Ontario.
lot of those places have gotten like a bit wiser. Like I think the internet kind of ruined a lot of like pawn shops, antique store, garage sale kinds of stuff.
Well, because everyone thinks everything is worth something now.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah,
oh, that's
yeah.
not really how this works.
Yeah. Which is why when a woman's husband dies, you have to fucking jump on it.
Yeah.
If there's a chance she doesn't understand the value.
It's why I make as many friends as possible who may or may not bequeath me their stuff.
Yeah. Look.
What
about you?
Yeah, I mean, I was obviously already very into DC, very into comics. But I think, and this used to be true for me in movies and TV too, I was mostly just like here for the lore. Big surprise. But to the point where it was like, I actually wasn't necessarily like taking in or fully appreciating all the sides of even the narrow band of superhero comics, where I was just like, oh, I would just read a thing and I'd be like, man, it's so crazy that that's what they did with the Spectre and this is hell or whatever. And then I'd go back and like later after doing the podcast and talking about stuff more, and I'd read like that same run of the Spectre and I'd be like, man, the art is fucking amazing. Like, I think it's not that I was like totally blind to it.
You're just appreciating it in more different ways.
But I
now.
think when I'm reading that, I'm at the same time I'm taking in more. I don't have to be on my fourth read of a thing to notice the layouts. Or like now the way I see these things is I'm taking it all in at once. Because that was also a thing with movies where I'd just be like, oh, like what a crazy story, and then I'd go back later and like, or you know, you'd start listening to Blank Check or something, you'd be like, I didn't even notice what angle the shot was at, like, and then you go back and you're like, oh, okay, I see it.
You're perceiving things in more of like how it is made rather than just like how it makes you feel, and I think like that's a different thing.
Yeah, and it's also like this started when I was working at Broken Frontier too, and I was like reviewing comics and that. But certainly the podcast has kept it going. But that idea of like there are things that the medium can do that nothing else can.
Yeah.
You know, we've talked about this in a bunch of different contexts, but like there's stuff film can do that TV can't. There's stuff painting could do that a sculpture can't. There's stuff that there's stuff that a comic can do that animation can't, that live action can't, and vice versa. And now I think it's automatic. It used to be I'd have to really be thinking about it, or I'd be on like my sixth thing where finally stuff would be so automatic that I could notice it. But now, like that's how it's changed for me. I think I just have a better, more comprehensive. I can capture more of all the things that are happening now.
Sure. I think the only other piece that I hadn't really mentioned, which I'm sure is the same for you too, is like now that we've also gotten to engage with like the actual administrative side of comics, the way that it is, the way that they're put out, the who writes them, how they write them, the things that goes on behind the scenes, getting to meet people like Liam Sharp and like older writers and newer writers. We understand a lot more about like the politics and like economy of comic writing, and so I think like
and the process and the evolving process.
A good example is like when you and I go to like panels for writers and comics and stuff like that, and we're always the ones laughing at the same things that the writers and artists and stuff are, because like people are asking very like naive questions about the way comics are made, and we're like, yeah, I get it.
Yeah, which frankly, go back and listen to the podcast are the questions we started asking.
100%,
you know, like, but yes, I agree. I've noticed that change in us too.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, we're like sitting and be like, oh man, you don't even know.
I guess what we're saying is we do listen.
Yes.
We have been present for the past 400 episodes.
Surprisingly.
Somehow.
Even me.
Yeah, even you. Oh my God.
Ugh. All right, let's go to the next question. Chicken Maddie.
Bok bok.
Hey, Dr. Dr. DC and producer Richard. It is your favorite chicken-themed scholar guest, a.k.a. Matt Poulter, a.k.a. Chicken Matty. Just calling in to congratulate you guys on your 400th episode. Congrats for all the success. I continue to love the show. Can't wait for episode 420 for reasons that I'm sure are specific to everyone. And I was going to ask you, for this very special episode, the following question. What is a personal headcanon you each have about the DC universe? You know, something that isn't necessarily established canon, but you refuse to believe otherwise. All right, cheers, guys, and congrats again. Bye.
I just want to issue a couple of corrections here.
Second favorite chicken.
Yeah,
themed.
next to Turkey Steve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a chicken, but
Yeah.
bird related.
Yeah. Gobble, gobble.
Yeah. It's Turkey Steve.
We go back, we retcon the old episodes, insert questions from Turkey Steve.
Yeah, somehow sounding way better than what they did in the first.
Yeah. Okay, so what is a personal headcanon?
Yeah, Tom Grummett's a racist.
I mean, I guess I think he means in universe.
No, that's the one. That's the headcanon. Tom Grummett's a bad guy.
Tom Grummett is a bad guy. That's yours.
Yeah.
So nothing in universe. There's nothing where when you read it, you just go like, I bet this is true, even though like.
I mean, I don't think I think about it in that kind of way.
Sure.
Yeah. I don't think beyond the pages kind of thing. I can't think of anything specifically like that. I just like to absorb the stories as they're told to me, and I don't think,
Right. Let's see. I don't know offhand.
That's a tough question,
It is
right?
a tough question. I'm just trying to think of like some different corners and see if there's like something that
Like they haven't addressed it, but like this is probably the thing. I mean, we talk about that stuff when like characters suddenly show up. I mean, you bring up like this is probably how that happened.
Yes.
So that's kind of that where you're like, it's probably because of this, but they haven't really said it.
But I'm trying to think of something that's like long like like I bet
This character is
I bet
blank.
this character doesn't eat meat or something, but
Sure.
it's never come up. Like or like
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that I have one. I'm gonna try and think of one though, because I feel like I owe an answer.
Yeah, I think you definitely have lots of little ones because they come up a lot when you're just like trying to like connect dots.
Sure. Yes.
But I don't think that like having a long-standing thing like I always thought that Superman actually did this when he was changing or something like.
Here I'll throw one out there.
Okay.
I think for all of his outward cruelty and like his namesake and all
Stuff
this
about me?
all this kind of stuff, that Richard's a pretty good guy. No,
No.
for all of his outward cruelty and torture and all
Yeah.
the things he's known for,
Yeah.
I have a suspicion that Desaad sleeps on a bunch of pillows. Like he's got a really like.
Cush setup. Yeah.
It's like a heart-shaped bed with a bunch
Yeah.
of pillows. Yeah. It's just a little, like, I just want to get snuggly at the end of a hard day of torturing lowlies.
Yeah.
He has, like, a comfy blanket, hot chocolate.
I mean, that's a love.
I think that's my headcanon for Desaad. I'll expand that to say I think everyone on Apocalypse has, like, a sort of shameful opposite habit.
Sure. Yeah. Everywhere else, they're like, I'm bad.
Like, I think in the middle of all of the training, female Furies and that, I think Granny Goodness likes reading them stories.
Sure.
I think Desaad likes to get cozy and curl up with something. I think,
I love that.
I think everyone on Apocalypse, even Darkseid, has like a sort of thing that's like, this is for me, but no one needs to know about that. It sort of undoes my whole thing.
Yeah.
And for me, the thing that alludes to it is like just Darkseid eating the carrot, like in Mr. Miracle.
Oh,
where it's
sure.
just
Yeah.
like Darkseid needs sustenance.
Yes.
He's just like, I just love a snack.
Yeah. Who doesn't love a party tray?
Yeah. Oh, is this ranch?
Yeah. It's so good.
I think that's funny.
God, that party tray, that scene is probably one of the best in that
It's,
book.
it's really good. Yeah.
Also, buddy, are we gonna get high?
Oh yeah, for the 420 episode.
Forgot that was coming.
I mean, that
Is
could
that
be
during
that, but maybe
Darkness?
he also means because it's Hitler's birthday.
Boy.
Ew.
Is that Darkness?
It will be.
Milk and then weed gummies.
Yeah. Dairy and high, miss.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go to the next one.
Okay. Who do we have?
Another family member.
I
Is that we just needed to fluff out the question. We need to get a few more.
don't think I like you using the word fluff.
Yeah, your wife just needed to fluff it out.
Easy.
Hey everybody, this is Mrs. DC. I've got 2 questions for you guys. My first one is, what has been your most favorite episode so far? Which one has stuck out in your mind the most? And my second one is, if you could have any guest, living or dead, on this podcast for a Doc Miss episode, who would it be?
Weird. Thought we only asked for one question, but
That's my wife.
so you'll bring it up with her.
Yeah, don't worry.
I'll deal with it.
I'll handle this.
Just wait till I get.
How about you let me handle my affairs?
Yeah.
Jesus. Yikes. Holy shit. Yeah, also, the exact opposite of the dynamic in my house.
1,000%. Yeah.
Yeah.
So your favorite episode?
Yeah, I mean, in general, my favorite episodes somehow toe the line between like actual talking about the stuff
Sure.
and just when we're on and it's
Yeah.
riffing. Like, we've brought it up a bunch, but the For Tomorrow episode is really good.
Yeah.
I mean, insane.
And the worst book we've ever read.
And I was so angry, but that was like
What made it?
that was like the alchemy piece in it, where it's like I got just angry enough that I was like, no, do you know what? I will go on this riff. I don't care about talking about the thing that much.
Yeah. When a thing is kind of not that good, it's when you and I do our best work. It's when we actually appreciate the person or thing that we kind of suck, I think.
I mean, that's not true. That one's up there.
Mhm.
I certainly from like an entertainment value kind of perspective. There are like legitimately interesting people that we've had on.
Yeah.
Liam Sharp,
Oh my God.
Ram V, Heather, like there's Shoshana, like
Yeah.
I love when we have a guest on that like brings
Yeah.
like they're like a real professional working in a thing, and we just go like, okay, cool. Like,
Yeah.
I
I don't think it's a good episode of our podcast, but I think it's a good podcast episode.
I 100% agree with
Yeah.
you.
And I bet the guests probably
it's
feel
not
that
the
way.
product we're usually selling.
Yeah. I think our listeners probably are like, it's nice to have like a change, and they're good.
Yeah.
It's like when Jaffe shows
If
up.
you're in the drive-through line for McDonald's and someone hands you a filet mignon,
You're not gonna
you'd
like,
go like, the filet mignon's really good, but that's not why I'm here.
yeah. I'll
And
eat
that's-
it, and I'll be happy that I got
Yeah.
that thing.
I'm probably grateful I didn't get the thing I thought I was going to get.
I probably should have been.
But also,
I probably
like
should-
the next time I drive through here, I better get it.
But also, I probably should be eating the filet mignon. But
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I also who can spare the
Yeah.
time?
55 shakes, 55 fries, 55.
You fucking love that.
So episodes with those kind of guests
Yeah.
way up there. There's some just classic, like episode 80 is where we come up with Evil Alfred, and
Classic.
us starting a riff is all like,
Especially one that we're gonna do forever.
and hearing it like
Form.
is really fun for me. Yeah, live shows. It's hard to pick, but I'll go with my gut and say the For Tomorrow one really stands out as like, it's kind of like it's in the middle of all of them, where we actually talk about the thing. We have like a real conversation about like the art and the story and stuff, and we're also like hateful in the funniest possible way, and then there's also like bits in there
Yes.
like like that might be somewhere around there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, what about you?
I mean, this is why I pitched a whole podcast where we just read the worst books.
Yes, I know, but here's the thing that I like I like when I can see the machinery of how you've planned a thing where you're like this year you picked stories that I was like, I can see exactly what you're doing.
Yeah. Look, everyone loves
down to like, what if Jim Lee was on art and an insane motherfucker was the writer? And I was like, oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah, prescribed reading month is always an enjoyment for me.
Yeah.
I think that my favorites are probably like that Connor Boyle episode.
That's a great one.
It's a really good one for me when it's like
that's like riffs.
Yeah, when it's all riffs, that's when I have the most amount of fun.
Yeah.
I think that I mean, when we get like a good book to read, it's always enjoyable, but that's more of fun before the podcast, less fun when we're talking about it.
Do you know what one I just thought of?
What?
That's an insane one. It wasn't from this past year, I don't think. I think it was from the year before. We did a bonus, like an extra episode that was just a Two-Phase Rules episode.
Oh,
and
like 15
it
minutes long.
always came up tails.
Yes.
So it's like a 15-minute episode. We don't answer any questions. and I'm like in it, I'm like crying and I can't stop laughing. And like, none of the questions are getting answered, and I was like, we'll do because it was like episode 222 or something. So it's like it's a cool Two-Face episode. It's short. No one gets their questions answered. We're delirious in our hotel room recording it and shit.
I forgot about that.
That's a really funny one.
That's a great
I really
one.
like that one.
Because also it's you flipping the coin.
Oh, me flipping the coin, because I didn't have a coin. I'm using an app that keeps coming up tails, and then I was like, maybe the app's broken, and then I was like, oh no, that was heads, and then we go to do it with the question, it's like tails again. It's really funny.
Oh, that's
that's
good.
A good one.
You also love Who Arted?
Who Arted on the Patreon.
Yeah.
That's a wild one. You put so much effort into doing a thing so fucking broken and wrong.
Whenever we really fuck up a concept, it's always really, really good.
I do love tripping at the finish line.
But I think the art episode is probably
my
favorite episode.
Episode 130. Our first video episode, I think.
Yeah. No, not that. The Docmus, the art.
Oh, sorry. I see.
That art.
Yeah, I mean, God, I don't know how I'll ever.
That was probably my favorite podcast thing I've ever done.
I can't remember what it was that I sent you, but you responded the way, like, I know you did it on purpose. You responded with what my wife said when I brought that art home, which is, why would you do this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I like that. So, sorry, the second half of that was what person, living or dead,
we want on Docmus
would you want to have as a guest for Docmus?
Yes. Which is a different thing.
Docmus is its own beast.
And it's also, I'm interpreting as all of Docmus.
Oh, so they join us for 12 episodes.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And so for
this year, I guess Louis Pasteur.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. Fuck you. I fucking hate you.
Oh, it's gonna be so good. We're just gonna get like a longer cable. You can bring the mic into the bathroom, shit yourself while we're recording.
I fucking had like that the other day. I mean, Jesus Christ, that was when I had to leave the podcast.
Yeah.
I think I deleted that, but
what, that you basically almost shit yourself?
Yeah. I mean, truly, we've already had him on the podcast, but I would love for him to be there for Docmus. Gabrus.
Yeah, that's the right energy.
That's the Docmus energy that you need.
I agree.
Or either from that episode or Tom Goss.
In a sort of similar vein, I've always wanted us to try and get Manzukis.
Oh my God. I mean, that's a dream.
If we could get Zooks, who likes comics, but is notoriously hard to reach.
Yes.
He's not on social media.
Yeah.
He also wouldn't give a shit about us.
How did the Doughboys even get him? They must text him.
I mean, they just know him. Yeah. But Zooks has been on my... I, at one point, almost got through to his agent.
Really?
I was close one time.
Wow.
I was in one of my kind of like manic,
Sure.
like I'm going to contact everyone sort of
Yeah,
things.
yeah. You can tell that because we had 1,000 guests in like 5 weeks.
I do love when that happens too. Yeah, you can see when inspiration struck.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like fuck.
Yeah, you can see the patterns in our podcast.
Yeah.
I love that. Those are
Yeah.
great answers.
Nice.
All right, let's go to the next one.
'Kay.
A local boy, Neil McDonald.
Oh, our buddy.
Hey, fellas, congrats on 400 episodes. It's a great milestone, and hopefully you hit another 400. You know me, the only thing I love more than comic books is movies and TV shows, so this is a two-parter for you both. What's your favorite animated and live-action adaptation of a DC comic property? Have a good one, fellas.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Neil. So, what's your favorite animated or live action adaptation? So,
Sure.
not just, you can't say something like Batman Returns, I think, because that's kind of like its own thing. They didn't go like, this is the comic and here.
Is there a
adapted
live
it.
action adaptation though?
I mean, not one-to-one, but there's, there's more in animation than in
Yeah,
live
because like
action.
Batman Returns is kind of an adaptation.
No, that's the one I just presented as where you can't do that.
Because I think like because there's pulling stuff from like Frank Miller's, right?
No.
Like, or which one was
It's not. That's what I'm saying. That's why I presented
which
it
one
as
was though like the Frank Miller.
Oh, fucking Batman v Superman.
Oh, sure, yeah, okay, yeah. I guess that's the closest. I don't really like that.
There's the Shazam movie is basically like it's a more. I mean, it's not exact, but it's adapting like the New 52 Shazam, like that origin. Like there are some things, but actually, DC live action doesn't tend to fall into that
No, it doesn't.
trap, which is a thing I like.
Yeah, I mean, if I was gonna do it, then I would maybe say that the first 2 seasons of The Flash, because they have some stuff like in there.
In the broadest sense, like the big arc
Yeah,
of Thawne and Barry is from Flash Rebirth.
Yeah, I mean that's the closest I could do for live action, and then animated. I mean, it's probably gonna be Killing Joke.
Really?
Yeah.
Even with Batman and Batgirl hooking up on the roof and shit?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
See, for me, animated, it's The Dark Knight Returns.
Oh, wait, sorry. I mean the Long Halloween. I apologize.
Oh.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, that makes some sense.
Yeah.
Because you love Jeff Loeb
Right.
and you agree with his politics.
This is why I'm never falling into this again. Fuck you, Grummett.
Yeah. Just picturing Tom Grummett being like, my favorite show's turning 400.
Could you imagine?
He turns and I say, oh
no.
like Hans Moleman, just like, oh.
Back to reading about the Holocaust.
Well, if
Better
that's-
days.
No, this is his like Thawne thing.
Oh,
If
no.
that's what they think of me, I'll show them a villain.
Yeah. Oh, all right. I mean, I've been fighting this whole time, but maybe I have been the villain the whole time.
To unleash the darkness. You made me this.
I'm gonna bang the Grummett. Sorry. Anyways, you can go.
In animation, I would say Dark Knight Returns.
Sure.
That's a like almost 1-to-1 adaptation, but it manages to capture like the feel of the artwork. I think the voice acting is great in it.
Yeah.
Fucking Peter Weller as like an old Batman, like he's fucking RoboCop. Like he's so good.
Totally.
That's I think maybe, and it doesn't really fall into the trap of some of the other ones where it's like we're adapting Hush, but we gotta totally change the ending because people already know it.
Ugh, I hate that they think they have to do that.
It's so unnecessary. I mean, they even do it in Long Halloween.
I know.
You don't have to do that. But the Dark Knight Returns doesn't fall into that trap. They pretty much just do it.
Yeah,
more
I
or
like when
less.
the Titanic doesn't sink.
Yeah. I bet you thought you knew the Titanic.
Yeah.
You don't know Jack.
Yeah.
You know.
Did you ever play You Don't Know Jack?
No, like A, yes. B, Jack is Leo's character. Isn't that fun?
Oh, yeah.
But yes, I do remember. You don't know
No
Jack.
So good.
So that one's probably way up there for me. Live action one is to this thing we were talking about. It's a lot trickier because DC is way looser about it, and it really, frankly, all comic book movies are pretty loose about it until really the partway through the MCU.
Yeah, like they really
'Cause
should have
even-
made League of Extraordinary Gentlemen more like the comic.
Yeah, I mean, God, if there's a movie that I'm glad is not like the comic, it's League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Holy shit. I mean, say what you will about the end product of just whatever that movie is, but I am so glad it's not the comic.
Listen to our commentary track on that.
Listen, people are going to drag me for it, but I like Watchmen.
I mean, I love Watchmen.
Watchmen is like...
They should have put the squid in, but otherwise it was great.
I have such a funny relationship with that because I watched it and I was like, I liked the change in the ending and like framing Manhattan. That made sense to me, and I was like, and also like a giant squid thing is like, even for a movie like we're pushing it. And then the HBO show, I was like, oh no, fuck, you can do it.
Yeah, you can
It's
do
like,
it
well,
and make it serious.
Like, okay, well, never mind.
Fuck me
like, but I like Watchmen.
Yeah.
I think it's really good. I think if you're looking at it from the lens of like Zack Snyder as like having a voice, I'm not sure it does a great job.
Yeah.
But he's so visual and stylistic. If you take away from it that like he's not really bringing anything to it other than doing it,
Yeah.
then I think I really like it. I like a lot of the performances in it. I think Jeffrey Dean Morgan's amazing in it.
Yeah.
And I guess it's Watchmen.
I guess if we're I've changed my answer, which is it's V for Vendetta.
Yeah, it's different from the comic, but it's a solid movie.
Yeah, it's pretty close.
More or less. Yeah.
Enough. Like
Yeah. Hugo Weaving's fucking great. Yeah.
All right, well, let's keep the train rolling with locals, and we'll get one from Paul Schultz.
All right. Yes, he couldn't send audio, but he
Yes.
did send us a question.
So his question is, congratulations, Richard and Reed, on 400 episodes of the Dr. DC podcast. That is more episodes than Star Trek The Next Generation and Deep Space Nine combined.
Yeah, suck it, two good shows.
Yeah, fucking, you'll never be what we are.
Yeah, what you didn't see at home is I did the Degeneration X.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, you said suck it. I'd assume that's
true. I wasn't sure if I put enough stank on it.
No, you do. You so much stank. Your suck
Okay.
it was so stanky.
Yeah.
What an achievement. Carrie and I are currently traveling in the UK and Ireland, and wondering what your favorite character or characters are from the UK and Ireland.
Right. So favorite characters from the UK and Ireland. I mean, there's quite a few.
Yeah.
What are ones that come to mind for you?
Characters from the UK and Ireland that I can't really think of many, to be honest, of DC.
Yeah.
I don't really know if there is that many.
I mean, there's quite a few.
Yeah, but none that I can really that can come to mind right now.
Constantine?
Oh, sure. Yeah, he's good. I like him. Yeah.
I really like Silver Banshee.
Sure.
She's Scottish.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. Right now she's dating Jimmy Olsen in the comics,
Oh,
but
fun.
a Superman and Supergirl adversary. She's got that she's got a curse on her, and she has that crazy sonic scream. And if she knows your real name, she can kill you.
Whoa.
By saying it.
Whoa.
So yeah, Silver Banshee's up there. There's Lady Godiva that has prehensile hair and stuff like that. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, oh god, they made some silly kind of UK. There's Beefeater. He's
Sure.
one of those like kind of classic I don't even
Beefeater,
know
like the soldiers' outfits for
Yeah.
the queen or whatever. Yeah.
yeah.
If that's the Beefeaters, I don't even fucking.
I
know.
think it is. There was a character that was only in the Flashpoint timeline called the Canterbury Cricket.
Oh.
That was like an insectoid kind of character. That was kind of interesting. Yeah, I mean, if we're talking favorites, it's
Constantine. Right?
it's got to be Constantine.
Yeah.
I think by that token, though, I think you can also count Etrigan.
Sure. Really.
Jason Blood is a
Oh,
knight
sure.
in Arthurian times in Britain who gets bonded to
Yeah, that's
to Etrigan. So I think you can count Etrigan as
then Shining Knight. Yeah.
Shining Knight.
Yeah.
Totally. Madame Xanadu, I think, maybe gets lumped in there then at that point.
Okay.
Although I think you could kind of put a bunch of them there.
Totally. All right, let's go to the last question.
Okay.
The last question from Crystal Skillman and Fred Van Lanty.
All right.
Here we go.
Hi, I'm Crystal Skillman.
And I'm Fred Van Lente.
We wrote the podcast and play King Kirby.
And our question for you, Dr. DC, is what is your favorite Jack Kirby DC creation that isn't Darkseid?
And why?
Happy 40th birthday?
400th
anniversary? Anyway,
It's eternal.
just have a happy Mary.
Nice.
It's smooth. Love a one take.
The perfect note to end on.
Yeah. The most like this podcast.
The most podcast ending. Fuck. Shit. Son of a bitch.
Proving it moment after moment.
Yeah. Yeah, could you imagine 400 more episodes of this? Yeah.
Maybe we'll say things good then.
Yeah, to be. Anyway. So, favorite Kirby creation in DC
Yeah.
other than Darkseid.
Yeah.
And let's even go a little step further and say, I mean, I won't count out all the new gods, but
I was like, can I do OMAC? Like,
that's kind of where I was going, actually.
yeah.
So what do you like about OMAC?
I mean, one, I love his artwork.
Yeah, the design is really cool.
It's
The mohawk and
yeah.
something about the red pants and blue shirt.
Which is like so not like me.
Yeah.
Because it's such like a.
Yeah, you kind of usually rebel against the sort of big primary color kind of.
But for whatever reason, it works in this. I think that, I mean, Kirby space is sort of a thing that I love in general.
Yeah,
That's
totally.
my shit.
Yeah.
I think I now officially have all of OMAC first.
You do,
volume.
I think.
Yeah,
you have all
yeah.
of OMAC.
I
Yeah.
haven't scanned it in yet. They're all just sitting in a pile right there. But I'm very, very proud of having all of that. And I think that the concept is so cool. And we're seeing it. We saw it a little bit now in Blue Beetle.
Right.
But this like ultimate like robot soldier type thing is so fucking cool.
Yeah.
But I mean, for me, it always goes back to his art. I mean, that's the reason why I go to Kirby.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that I like about that original Kirby version of OMAC is that it's so fucking Kirby.
Yes.
Like, he's a guy with a sentient satellite partner that beams his powers down to him, and he gets this kind of big bulk. Like, he just everything about it is just like so wild.
For a man who's so straight laced, he comes up with the most fucking hippie ass shit.
I do love the idea of just Kirby as a person who'd be like, "What did you say? Was that a fucking Nazi?" He'd be like, beats the shit out of him. He goes, "Yeah, stay out of Brooklyn." And then he goes upstairs and he goes, "So the satellite beams the powers down to the."
Oh, the satellite beams
Sorry.
the powers.
Yeah. Oh, bother.
Come over here, you fucking Nazi.
Yeah, take this.
Yeah. I'm gonna show you a 1,000-acre punch.
Wow. Yeah, that's the little known Flash power, the 1,000-acre punch.
Yeah, I think it's 100-acre, but yeah. Anyways,
It's the 100-acre ones. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna use my 100-acre fire iron on your fucking head.
Fire iron.
5 iron.
Oh, okay. I thought you said fire iron.
No, 5 iron. It just
We're not
sounds
messing
good.
up. Anyway.
Yeah. 40th, 100.
No, I mean, I really do like the design of OMAC. I think all of that shit really works. I was maybe thinking of like Challengers of the Unknown, but I actually think they're just more interesting as a curiosity, like because it's such like a
I do fucking love
it's like
them.
part of an idea that then becomes
I think
the Fantastic Four.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like
I think that the potential of those characters is more what I enjoy, which is like, God,
I've just never been able to tell the characters apart.
no,
you
it's
know
one of
what
those
I mean?
things
Like,
where I'm like, if someone used them well, it could be incredible. Like there's so little there and
Yeah.
so much there at the same time.
yeah, it's true. It's almost like you're seeing like like Kirby's like
Yes.
raw materials.
Yeah, and you're like, oh God, you could do so much
Yeah.
with this given the right
like you're
writer.
you're not even seeing like cookie dough. You're
No.
seeing like flour and sugar.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that's
yeah.
how like deconstructed I
Yes.
think the Challengers of the
which is
Unknown
part of
are.
the reason why I love them, because I'm just like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah,
this
yeah.
sucks, but in the right combination with the right
Yeah,
recipe,
Yeah.
this could be amazing. And I think that's always my thing with them is like, I'm like, oh, I just want somebody to do something with them.
And there's something relatively interesting about that I
Like,
think is good.
like Tom King needs to fucking take Challengers of the Unknown. Like we just need somebody to like reestablish.
They've given them a go a few times over the years, but I just think ultimately it's like they're fun to acknowledge that they exist and put in a story or put in the background.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I think there's too many other things. I mean, DC even now has the further riff on Fantastic Four, which is the Terrifics.
Sure.
So like now it's like, well, like where are the Challengers gonna go?
Yeah,
like,
fair. Yeah.
you know, don't even have space for the Time Masters.
Totally.
You know, like all that kind of shit. So yeah, I design wise, Omac's way up there. I was maybe gonna say Commandy, and then I remembered that Commandy is like a
Yeah.
fun idea done very weirdly.
Yes.
But yeah, probably Omac for me too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think like if there's ever like a piece of art that I would want more than anything from DC, it would be some of Kirby's space. Like to get like an original piece of art. Like
Yeah, I mean,
I'd fucking kill for that.
yeah, and for that, I'd be so willing to. I mean, not like I would swallow my pride and get Marvel art if I had
You'd
like
swallow a lot to get some Kirby.
oh yeah, I mean like some fucking like Galactus,
Yeah.
Silver Surfer shit. Like, yeah, that would be awesome. That'd be really cool.
Fuck yeah. Well, that's 400.
400 big ones.
Yeah. What better place to end
Holy shit.
than 400 episodes?
Damn. I just want to get a look at you.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
400. Much better.
All you got to do is trust me, you alien bitch.
That's it for this week.
Adios.
Ciao, ciao.
Heroes, they always fight for what is right. Live with danger and adventure, they are men of might.
This was a Brain Freeze podcast.